What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Steelhead Alley podcast. I'm Kyle, and I'm back with my buddies Beaver and Dave to finish up part 2 of our second trip recap. This episode picks up on day 2, where we hike into some truly picture-perfect winter water, pushing through snow, breaking shelf ice, and covering water run by run to find fish. It was classic winter steelhead fishing, cold hands, quiet stretches, and then those moments where everything clicks and the water comes alive. On the morning of day 3, we made the call to switch things up, and it paid off immediately. With not a single boot track in the snow, we had the entire stream to ourselves. The action started quick and stayed hot, closing out the trip with nonstop hookups and serving as a reminder of how quickly things can turn when the conditions line up. We got a fun one for you today, so now let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back, Steelhead Alley Podcast, episode 10, and we are back for part 2 of the second trip recap, and I got Beaver and Dave back. What's up, guys? Welcome back. How we doing?
It's great to be back again.
Round 2, here we go.
Here we go, Beav. Getting into the juice, right?
Yep. What everyone's been waiting for.
That's it. Yeah, I know. We drag it out. We make everyone live the full experience. So yes, excited to get into this one, guys. This is where the fun happens. We alluded to this. We're getting into the private water, down into the gorge. We'll start at the beginning, but I just want to say real quick, as I was going through some more of the footage before we jumped on here, man, I even already forgot how awesome it was in terms of the scenery. It was so good. In the one shot while we're fishing the hole, you can see the turkeys flying down the valley. Dude, it's awesome.
Yeah, there was like 30 of them or something like that.
Yeah, and they were like both sides. We'll talk about it.
One of my favorite parts about that stream is just the initial walk down into the gorge. It's awesome. You just a huge gorge. You start walking down and you can see the stream, and it's just so remote back there. I don't know. It's an awesome landscape.
I'm with you, Beav. It's beautiful down there. It's honestly my favorite part about the stream. You don't even feel like you're where you are anymore. Does that make sense? Like it just feels further away.
Yeah, you feel like you're just super remote in Montana or somewhere where you're just out there. Because you don't see any, like you might occasionally see one or two other people who've got access to it, but the majority of the times you don't see anybody.
And you're just deep in it. You're so deep in it and it just feels different.
Yeah.
All right, boys. So let's get it. Waking up bright and early. McDonald's. Did anyone switch it up on their breakfast order?
We got burritos with salsa this time. That is clutch. You pack out an extra, sausage burrito, but you got to get the hot sauce with it. You pack that bad boy out to the stream.
Yeah. Living dangerously out there.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you know how I live out there, Dave. It's regular, so it's not really any more dangerous.
Nope.
It's just regular.
You may miss the last night bite too, you know.
You did miss it, B.
Yeah, but it was worth it for that burrito. Yeah.
It was. And like you said, you got to have the hot sauce. It's good without it. It's phenomenal with it. That's right. Added the burritos for a little extra, going to be a full day out there, which it was, sun up to sundown.
And the way that we packed, you guys got your backpacks and I got the sling pack, but you're going to be basically out there from dawn till dusk. So you load it up with your lunch and your snacks, and I put a couple extra beers in there because it was a rough Friday.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple extra beers were needed. And they're precautionary, right? Just in case it gets worse.
We still had the skunk going at that point.
Yes, we did. So yeah, got to the private spot, right? How far of a hike do you think it is? Just into the water.
That's always a hard question.
A mile and a half.
I'm going to go about a mile down into it.
It's probably at least a mile.
If you're walking 3 miles per hour, which is about average, it takes about 20 minutes. And I'd say take about 20 minutes to get in there. I got a decent sense from my hiking days.
True. Beav did the Appalachian Trail, everybody. How old were you then, Beav?
24.
24.
Yeah, almost 14 years ago. A little rusty, but I can get a decent sense of how far we go.
Yeah, really good point. So, hiking in, down the gorge. What's going through your guys' mind, Beav? Where you at when we're heading in?
So Friday I was down in the dumps. We talked about Saturday, I was pretty hopeful. I think we all were. We saw the stream, and it's a really nice, beautiful scenery going down into it. And we had a good feeling we were going to see fish up there. And we knew that there was a spot that my dad talked about. It's one of the first runs. When you get down in there, if you see fish in there, you know that there's going to be some fish sprinkled throughout this water. We knew that we were going to find out quick, and I think we were all pretty optimistic about the day.
How are you feeling, Dave?
I was just really looking forward to a new section of the creek, new scenery, the adventure again. Couldn't have been as bad as the day before. Once you get down there and you see that stream and you're like, all right, this is looking real good.
That first day, that was tough. That optimism that we alluded to, new water, something special, something different. You guys know me. I think I'm always optimistic. Am I ever not optimistic for Steelhead?
What's it, the words toxic positivity? I think it's toxic optimisticality.
Toxic optimism?
Yeah. Nah, it's good to have someone who's very optimistic out there because you get a day where you get skunked and then you get in your head, I'm not going to catch a fish this whole weekend. You need someone to be like, no, we're going to get into them, you know?
That's right. And so I was definitely jazzed up. I was ready to rock. But it wasn't just, yes, a lot of it is blind optimism in a sense of I'm just excited. We know water levels look decent enough. The temps, slush, things like that. It was all looking good the day before. It didn't get colder. So it's not as much blind optimism. It's optimism and kind of like gaining those data points leading up to it. And we had that information because your dad was on this water a couple of weeks prior. So I think we all had that in the back of our heads walking into this. And for you, Beav, and we talked about this, just a little nostalgia, right?
Yeah, that's where I basically learned how to steelhead fish like 20 years ago. It's where I caught my first steelhead. So there's a lot of nostalgia on that section. It's a tough start there because it's private water and it used to be polluted back in the heyday.
You mean with fish, not with trash.
No, yeah, sorry, not with trash. There's just fish all over. I didn't know what I was doing and I could still catch a couple fish.
There was more fish that I've ever seen. And I knew even less about steelhead fishing, and I was still new to fly fishing relatively. Yeah. There was a lot of fish back then.
Yeah.
Yep, polluted with fish.
And they were spread out too, because like a lot of streams, they got this hole and then flat water for 100 yards or so to the next hole. But there's so many bends in it. There's just so many nice runs and holes and waterfalls, and it's just got so much good structure, and there's just a good setup. It just holds fish really well where they're not just jam-packed in like one spot.
Yeah, it's a perfect setup. The stream is a good sized stream, and none of them hold water that well, but it holds water decent enough that those bigger runs and holes, to your point, because there's a bunch of really good ones, those fish are able to last longer in that type of environment. Like you said, it's set up really well for steelhead.
And we talked about it too with the structure and the setup of it. It's a good holdover spot for steelhead where they're not getting harassed constantly. More of the steelhead feel comfortable just hanging out there till they're ready to return. Not necessarily in the springtime, but they will hang out there for a decent period of time. We catch chromers up there, but a lot of times they're pretty colored up fish. They've been in the stream for a while.
I thought you brought up a really good point about they're just not getting harassed as much. They may be getting harassed at some point on their way in, or maybe not. Maybe they hit a big rainfall and CFS goes wild, and for a couple days it's up, or even a day, and they're already up there. They can do that no problem. Yeah, Beav, I didn't even consider them being fresher in a sense of just, harassed is a great word for it.
Yeah, with the public waters, every day someone's going down there trying to catch them. Something probably clicks where they're like, I'm not safe here, and either go upstream or go back into the lake. But just a theory of mine.
Yeah, cool theory. I think it's a good one. We'll have to do a whole episode about our theory on like steelhead runs and stuff we've been learning lately and talking about, because I think we've had some good conversations lately, because it's kind of related to this in my opinion. If they do have any low water periods, to your point, maybe they get spooked and run back to the lake earlier if they don't have a really good holding spot. Yeah. So anyway, we kind of beeline it, cut right over to the hole that your dad was talking about. What do we want to call it? The indicator?
We called it Brett's barometer hole.
Even better. Brett's barometer. That's way better.
Brett's my dad's name.
Yes, it is.
He loves this section, and he loves going down to that hole.
Yeah, we've talked about Brett a couple times. Beaver's dad, OG, Beaver and Brett got me into Steelhead, into the addiction.
I was gonna say, you're like, here, have a little taste of this.
Yeah. Here's a spoon, buddy.
And then Ale did it to Dave. It only takes one time to just get hooked. And then next thing you know, years later, you're making a podcast about it.
And you're like, what happened to my life?
Yeah. You're like, oh my God. If we get any just 20-year-old guys listen to this podcast, or girls, just go up every weekend you can. Because when you get into your 30s and have kids, like, it's so few and far between.
Yeah.
Because you're addicted to it, but you just can't do it. You might get 2 trips, maybe 3.
That's why you start a podcast, because you're so addicted and you can't get up there enough.
You can't go.
You need something to scratch the itch. Yeah, before you have kids,
Yeah, do it all the
go
time.
every weekend.
Yeah, I did like 8 weekends in a row that one year.
Dude, that was legendary.
My wife was pregnant and she was good with it. She knew the writing was on the wall. So I went up like 8 weekends in a row, fall into early winter of 2020. I enjoyed steelhead fishing, but I really got into fly fishing after I went to your bachelor party. And you guys were all Euro nymphing. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Because you couldn't do anything during COVID, so you had to do something. And mine was fly fishing.
Yeah. Wow, this is crazy. What are you guys doing? Bunch of wizards out here casting spells.
I know. And you caught that nice 20 plus inch brown. That brown, that was nice.
That caught that big wild brown, and that thing took me for a ride. And a big, like, 19, 20-inch wild rainbow up there too. But yeah, Beef, me and Dave were very, very jealous of that run that you had, because every day I'm like, hey, Dave, look at this at work. There's Beaver up there again. And he's like, again? Are you kidding me? What is that, like 4 weeks in a row? 5. Yes, it's 5
weeks. I forgot I would always send a picture. Immediately sail.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're eating lunch and we're like, what the heck?
And you were going early season too, some of those.
Yeah, October. Yep. I basically went from October into like late November, I think it was. It was multiple in a row, and then we took a 2-3 week break, and then we went up in mid-December of 2020, and that's when we found our one stream there.
Yes,
that was a great trip. I love that. That was one of my favorite trips.
Me too. Beav, we had a freaking blast that trip. And you know when we went? That was December like 21st or 22nd. Yeah. It was 3-4 days before Christmas. That's how you know you don't have kids. If you can go steelhead fishing 3 days before Christmas. Dude, that trip was amazing.
Yeah. It was a hell of a tangent.
Tangents are good though. All right. Come on, boys. Let's realign. Dave, focus. I think Dave mentioned this like a little bit, but when you get into the gorge, you have to cut through the woods, and there's 6 inches of snow, maybe a little more.
It was a lot.
Yeah, there was
snow. Yeah,
there was a decent. There was probably more than 6, and then you cut into the woods to get to the creek, and where we entered, there's that like wall downstream. I know the whole area is picturesque. We keep talking about that, but you just get there and you're like, holy shit, we're here.
Yeah, it's like a postcard.
It is a postcard.
It was lightly snowing.
Yeah. Oh.
At the time, I have a great picture of that spot.
Dude, yeah, it was flurrying. We're all jazzed up. Burritos in our belly, baby. Like feeling good. Put our stuff down. Got right in there, started breaking edges. And it's cool. There's like 3 spots to break ice, right? Beav, you talked to, there's a science to it, but you need one or multiple guys making sure it's getting pushed down. You need someone breaking the edges, and then you need to usually kind of break the big pieces up a little bit and send them. And that's kind of how we fell in place. And this hole was pretty icy. It wasn't that thick. That ice is like an iceberg. It's deceptively heavy at the bottom, but the layer of ice wasn't that thick.
It's a long run.
Yeah, most of it was covered. There was a little strand of water through the middle.
Yeah.
And let's get to the good part. Dave, you spot a fish, right? As we're breaking and moving.
Yeah, I think it was probably within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Took the tail off and then broke off a middle piece, and we pushed it down, and then all of a sudden this fish just was sitting there. Then you get like all jazzed up about this spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all like, yes, this is it, boys.
At that point, I was like, there's fish all over this stream.
Literally.
We didn't know that yet, but there's going to be fish up here.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And we expected in this hole alone there to be at least a dozen fish. That's how my brain went, because Dave sees the one. We're getting giddy. Right?
Yeah.
We are all giddy. And we're like, all right, let's go. And sure enough, that fish was following the ice shells, right, Beav? We talked about that the last episode. They love just hanging out under that ice, even as you're moving it. And so, yeah, so Dave spots this one. And I think you saw a second one, or you thought you saw a second.
Thought I saw a second one.
Okay.
I don't know if it was the same one that circled back, but.
And that water was green, and it was hard to tell if it was a different fish or not. How long do you think that took us? It took us kind of a while.
Say in that 15-minute range.
15, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes, though, we're out there and time is just weird out there.
Yeah.
Time just goes so fast when you're on a steelhead stream. We could have been working on that thing for, 45 minutes, and it felt like 15.
Yeah. I feel like it was longer than 15. I was watching the video a little bit, but I was zipping through it just to catch highlights quickly. And I feel like it was 30 minutes at least. And so now we're starting to come up with a plan. How do we want to approach these holes? Because we know we're going to be breaking ice and then letting fish settle. So we're navigating that. What do we want to do? We think we saw 2 fish to that point. You could not see in that water in that run at that time, right? It was a little bit hazier. It was a little bit stirred up from us breaking ice. But we didn't see any other fish, to my surprise. I was expecting to see a small pot of fish in that hole once we saw that one. But we didn't. We saw a couple, that's all you need. So we were like, all right, let's let this water cool down. We go upstream, and I was not expecting, but I was hoping, because we've spotted fish in the past, that tail of that next run was going to hopefully hold fish. And it was iced up. We jump in there, and Dave, you're kind of like sitting in the tail of it. Beav, you go up ahead of me, and I'm sitting in the middle as we're starting to chunk out this section. And Dave, you're slapping the stick off the iceberg, and it's not breaking, it's just slapping it. It looks like you're chopping wood, but you're just like clunk, clunk, and
I'm just giving it my best.
That was a thick iceberg out there.
it was. Yes, and it was a big stick you had,
Yeah.
and you're just chopping wood, and that thing is not cracking.
I remember we were trying to break out the other side, and Dave had the stick on the one side, and me and you were on the other side, Kyle, and you're like, throw it over. Just don't hit me, though. And Dave just whips it. It slides on the ice, almost impales Ale.
I forgot about that. Yeah, it just happened to like that right on top of the ice, just perfect, and slid right at me. Dude, that second hole took us even longer to break out because you had to hit both sides of it. But the cool thing is, we saw 1 fish, then we saw 2 more. I think we saw like 4 or 5 pretty quickly. So we were very motivated to get that ice broken out. And we're working on that. And it takes us a while, but then we find at least 7 or so in there, 7 or 8.
I remember us. Remember 7, or like the number 7 for that one. It could have been more than that.
But there was almost this little chute that went into this wider hole with this tree, and then kind of had this ledge. And there's been fish there in the past. We've seen fish there. We've caught fish there, Beav.
Yeah.
And there was, half a dozen plus.
It's a nice spot, and I think that's when we're like, okay, it's a little bit more clear. You could tell you could spook them. So
yeah.
That's when we started talking about like how should we approach this, and like reducing weight, and trying to just be quiet and like sneaking up to the spot you want to cast from and making your cast count. So we kind of knew it was going to be a tough day. Or a challenging day, I should say.
Yeah, we had to be tactical. We figured out pretty quickly that these fish, not only were they getting spooked from us breaking ice, but we could see them and they could kind of see us. And so we had to dial in more of a tactical approach. I think at this point, because it had been a while, Beaver went down to the first run to check that out. Did you go down there, Dave?
No, I stayed with you.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You went to the other side, and then I stayed on my side and gave it a shot. But
they weren't having it.
Yeah.
They were spooked.
Yeah, I don't think we gave it enough time.
We didn't. We were anxious. We were excited. There's half a dozen fish here. There was a couple big dogs in there.
Yeah, there was a big one in there.
Yeah, we saw some big fish, one very big fish. So, it's worth it giving it a shot. And the water was wide enough where I think while we were fishing to them, we weren't really spooking them, but they were all just kind of on edge from beating that ice up for so long.
Yeah, I mean, we were like chopping a storm up, right?
Yeah,
For 45 minutes. So.
exactly.
What do you guys think? I'm not sure what the reset is on fish after you break ice. It's a tough call, but you can't just hop right in.
We did it on Sunday.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, I'm excited to hear about Sunday.
I think it depends on the clarity, and I don't know. I think the clarity and maybe the angles being behind them more. I don't know, but there has to be another factor in that because sometimes we broke ice and just started fishing within a couple minutes and it works, and other times they just don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah. I wonder if you get those dredgers too. In some of those holes, we had those giant icebergs that were just dredging through the hole versus getting that like layer of ice at the top.
That's a good point too. The ice thickness.
And then you push it down and then they're just like flowing with it versus a big old iceberg just messing up your day. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, who knows about Steelhead? I'd love to know. You know, always, whenever I think I know something about them, I get surprised.
That's what makes them so much fun, though. Obviously, they're a rainbow trout, so they're going to be similar to any trout, but I do think they are different from their life cycle and all that stuff, and they do think differently. So to your point, B, it could be a number of different factors. I think sometimes it's simple. The bite is on. They're hungry and they just don't care. Maybe it was high water events for a while. Maybe that water went up 2 degrees and they don't care that you banged out that ice. There's a lot of different options in the way you could think about it and the way you could chop it up, but I think it all kind of comes into play personally, and you'd almost have to be measuring everything all the time while you're out there to really figure that out. But they were not on. They were spooky. We worked them for a bit, got some good drifts into them, and they were moving like they were spooked. They'd chill a little, but not interested in our flies. And like we were saying a little bit ago, Beeve, you popped downstream to check out the first run. How'd that look for you?
I thought I was going to hook into something down there.
I thought you were too.
Yeah. But when we got down there, like we hadn't tried fishing it yet. We just broke the ice and we moved up just to let them rest a little bit. And when I got back, I don't want to say it was like hard to fish. I tried fishing it from the opposite side. You know, you could drop down into like that one, you know, like nice chute and run it down. And at that point, the water felt like it was clearing up. So you could start seeing pretty well down into it. And I was looking for fish. You know, they can hide pretty well in some of those dark spots, but it was one of those things where I couldn't really see the fish we saw early on. I'm sure they were in there somewhere. I was a little discouraged.
So then realizing we have to make sure we're going to start thinking about based off of time and how long we're out there, what type of approach, how do we want to keep working this water? Because we have an end goal, right? We have a spot that we want to get to. If we could get further than that, great. So how much time is it going to take us to get there? How do we want to work this water on our way up? Beef, did you fish the second run a little bit?
Yeah, just for a little bit.
So then I pop upstream just to do some recon, and I went up, I don't know, a couple 100 yards, and everywhere I went, same thing, good water, green, and I was scouting, so I was getting real close on some skinny water, and I didn't see any fish. So, and then that next one, really big hole, was completely frozen over. It was like a jam spot where not only was it frozen, but other ice was like pushing into it. So came back to you guys, reported that. So I think at that point we were starting to get to the conclusion of, so far the two spots we've seen fish were in slower holding water, typical for that time of year or those conditions. And the water that I was looking at, some like really good steely riffly water, there was no fish to be seen. So, all right, let's start moving a little bit faster, beelining it a little bit. And then that's how it kind of goes, right?
Yeah, we just kept bouncing our way upstream, just keep working up until we found something we like and broke some ice and looked at it and kept going. That's all you can really do when it's like that, too.
Yeah, and we knew that there was a really nice spot upstream, like you talked about, Kyle. And we passed up some decent spots that had ice on them, knowing that it is a time commitment to be like breaking ice, waiting and seeing like there are steelhead in there. What time do you guys think it was? Like it was mid-morning at that point.
Yeah, we were out there for several hours already.
It was at least 10.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, we gotta make a decision here. So we definitely started picking up the pace.
Yeah. Our mindset was shifting a little bit okay, the fish aren't everywhere. We thought maybe they would be. We thought there were at least a couple here, a couple there. And based off of the recon I just did, it wasn't seeming like that. And some of the bigger holding holes were completely solid and would have taken very long to break out, if ever, right? I know we broke some ice on a couple runs here and there. We would see a fish here and there. So that was encouraging. And then we get to that one big run that we made the decision it was impossible to break out and it wasn't worth the time or the effort.
Such a great hole. That probably had fish in it. Yeah.
That definitely had fish.
That thing probably had a lot of fish in it. But we were nervous that if we started working this hole and then got to a point halfway through, which was very likely because there was a super deep section on the other side, that we were going to be like, it's impossible to break this out after we spent 30 minutes doing half of it.
Yeah, it was inevitable. We would not have been successful in breaking the way that hole is structured. We could not get to the other side. And if fish are hanging under the ice, then if the whole other half is still frozen over, we wouldn't even be able to get to the fish. But yeah, there was fish in there.
That's such a great hole, too.
Yeah, and it's really cool the way it's structured. It's that big, deep, wide tail, and then it kind of like meanders into a riffle upstream a little bit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had to skip stuff like that. Fast forwarding it, it's kind of the same thing. We know there's good water. We're fishing some good lanes. We're just not having any action. So mindset is continually focusing more on let's get to this turnaround point, this hole that we want to get to. But we get to that one run, Beef. I came up behind you. You were already in it. We've caught fish in it before where it's that big slate ledge and then it drops off and it kind of opens up at the tail of it.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, we didn't fish it that long, but I'm just surprised that we didn't scoop a fish out of there. It could have been the conditions or whatever. But the other thing is that tail of that was completely frozen. That whole thing was frozen on that opposite side.
Yeah.
So if there were fish, I wonder if they were maybe sitting under there. And that was one of those holes, like you said earlier, we just made the decision, let's just keep going. We fished it where we could, and for time we didn't want to break the ice. But man, that's one that I was kind of hoping and thinking we got a shot here, and it didn't transpire. Typical steelhead fishing.
Walking and breaking ice and having the skunk still on, and it's almost midday. I was fishing that mini waterfall while you guys were downstream, and then you guys came up, and I'm like, oh, I've been fishing this thing for like 10 minutes. And then Ailes like, I'm just going to step in there, see if there's a fish. He goes in, and there's just a monster steelhead, just swims out. I'm like, God damn it. But you always fish those waterfalls, man. These little waterfalls, you're like, there's no steelhead in there. You still fish it.
And man, when you do catch one out of there, it's one of the best hookups ever.
Yeah.
It is so much fun.
You got to get kind of lucky because it's so turbulent in there. It's like a washing machine. You got to get it deep down in there. It's got to be just right because they're usually nosing into that. There's like a soft like pillow in there that you just got to get it in there, And you could keep fishing, but you just got to get lucky on one of those to get it down into a strike zone. But yeah, fish those waterfalls.
Always fish the waterfalls. You have to get your flies in the top of that, and they have to like slide down and almost hit the current and kick down where, like you said, where they're nosing. And your flies then are in that soft pocket as well, and they have a chance for like an extra split second, and they can, snatch it. That's something I always do, especially if we're prospecting and trying to find fish. Because I fished that run too. I think I might have got snagged, and I'm like, all right, are you done fishing it? I'm going to take a step in this because I want to know if there's a fish. And sure enough, I walk in there and your face is just like, oh my God. And it was a big dog. It was a big fish. And then we're like, we see it. We're going to cast at it a couple times. And so I rip at it. I know, Dave, you were fishing a little bit. It was too enticing, wasn't it?
He was, and I got snagged.
Yeah.
I fished for like 10 minutes and lost my whole rig already. It was great.
You lost your whole rig down there?
Yeah.
So that's what took you so long to come up. It wasn't you fishing it. You were re-rigging.
Retying, yeah.
Man, that little waterfall was tricky.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, I think I went between like 2 rocks or whatever, and I absolutely could not get it out. And that
2 rocks in a hard place. So, all right, we're cutting through the woods at this point. We know we're close to our turnaround point. So, Dave, you're fishing at this big dog for a little bit. Me and Beeve keep pushing up, and we get to our end goal, our main spot. And we go up on top of it to try to spot some fish.
Just the getting down, it was ridiculous. So I don't even know how to describe this, but like it's a waterfall, and the only way to get to the top of the waterfall, you have to like scurry up, basically like boulder scramble up, and then once you get up there, the only way down is you gotta grab onto like these roots. I just see Kyle just Mission Impossible, just going down. I'm like, are you serious, dude? You want me to do that? So we did it because we wanted to catch steelhead.
I'm like, I think we can make it.
Yeah. Like, no big deal.
We did it.
Yep.
You know, it was cool though when we finally landed on ground. How about all the turkey track scatters all over?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. The one where you could see it walking out onto the ice, but then you could see where it was like flopping all over the place because it fell and it couldn't get out. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Oh man, I bet it was a shit show. Why do you think they're on the ice?
I don't think they knew it was ice. They probably thought it was just ground they were walking across, and then
Looks like snow covered ground, yeah.
yeah.
But it's really cool when you see that stuff. So then me and Beeve are up here, and you know when you're like spotting fish, steelhead, and you're looking in nothing, you're like, "Oh, man, I don't know." And then you finally see one, and you're like, yes, right here. It's right here. There's one right there. And then you're like, oh, wait, there's another one. And then your eyes tune in and really focus. And then you see half a dozen.
Yeah, they like multiply.
Yeah, they do.
Stare at them long enough, they're gonna multiply. But for real though, like it is funny. You look at it and you're like, I don't see anything, and the next thing you know, fish in there.
Right. Exactly.
Crazy.
It is. We were getting really excited. We saw a dozen fish that we could clearly see and knew there were a couple more because there were some dark areas and stuff. The one side is all ice, so we're like, all right, let's get in here, break all that out. It was what, 11:30. We'll eat lunch, drink a beer, let the water calm down. So that's what we did for the next 45 minutes or so. Ice actually broke out, not too bad. Me and you started on the one side, and then Dave came up when we were starting on the other side. Especially once Dave was in there and the three of us got into it, we were able to shuffle it out.
It was whirlpooling around, like knock a section out, and then it would just start whirlpooling. So Dave, I think you were the one that was pushing it out. So
Yeah, you're catch it and drag it out.
I want to say too that when we spotted those fish, we saw some big dogs in there too.
Yes.
We knew that there were some big dogs. We would have been happy with like anything like the average, 25, 26-inch steel. But man, we like saw some submarines in there. Yeah.
$5 footlongs.
Yeah.
Dude, there was a couple big dogs, 30 inches or so.
Yeah.
28 easy. Yeah, so that gets even more jazz. You see some bodies, and then you see some really big bodies next to those other bodies, and you're like, oh boy. So just to kind of fast forward, got the ice broken out, worked it out quick, and then we chilled out. That was cool. We were just kind of hanging out, drinking a beer, ate lunch, and then I think we set a timer, or we were darn close to setting a timer.
We're like, we're going to give it 30 minutes rest time because we had just broken the ice out. We're just going to eat, drink some beer, and then you can go into it, Ale, about drawing the sticks. But, yeah.
All right. So just to be fair, I don't know whose idea was to draw sticks. Was that you, Dave?
I think so.
All right. And it was a great idea. But we're like, how do we want to play this? Do we want to go two guys in this run? Do we want to go one guy? We're like, all right, we can work two, see how that goes, and then we'll play that by ear. So there's three of us. To be fair, Dave grabs 3 sticks, 1 short one, 2 long ones, and it plays out. Beef didn't win.
I draw the short one. I was like, are you guys serious? I mean, that's just how it is, but I'm like, I'm not gonna be the first one to catch a steelhead.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm like, I am gonna be the first one to catch a steelhead. I am gonna catch one of these mothers. And we did a second pulling, right? So we did a second stick drawing. So then it was, you get to pick, do you want to go to the tail or the head of it? So then I won that pool. Dave went to the tail, I went to the head, and I'm like, it's on, baby. How are you feeling, Dave? Pretty good?
I was great, but the best part of this whole story was you telling us how quiet and calm we had to be getting into the water and watch where we're stepping. And then you take one step and then go crashing into the water, half falling in. It was insane. And then you came right back out. I'm like, okay, we'll give it 5 more minutes now.
We talked about being quiet for the 30 minutes. We were like, man, we got to be sneaky. Just sneak up on these steelhead. It's like a bull in a china shop getting in there.
We were talking about being sneaky all day, and I was the leading one on that. I'm like,
Yeah.
watch your steps, tread lightly. And yeah, I took one step, literally one step to go in and crash right in. In my defense,
It was slippery. Yeah, you were being like careless.
I went through a piece of ice on the stream, but it was bad. And it was kind of like deep where I went in. Luckily, it was far enough away from where the fish were, where I don't think it made that big of a deal.
No, it didn't. It was just funny as hell. Yeah.
The irony was there, though.
Yeah, it
Man.
was so funny.
Oh my goodness. So anyways, me and Dave first in. Beef's gotta patiently wait, get the net ready. He knows it's coming. And dude, that water cold, really, really cold. And we were in some at least thigh deep water most of the time, sometimes waist deep. And you could only last so long in that water. Dave, me and you worked it hard, right? We worked it really hard for 20 minutes.
Did you guys get hooked up?
Yeah, we tangled. We crossed swords, so to speak.
It's just the nature of the beast when you're doing that. It just happens.
Dave wanted to get the juice.
Yep.
Well, I was stuck on the ice, and then when I popped it free, it came over to you, and it was a disaster.
That's right. So you had to clear that. But anyway, we did fish it for a while, and I bet you were stunned that no fish were caught out of there.
Oh my God. I thought it was going to be the first 5 minutes.
Me too. But it was one of those things, even though I didn't hook into anything and Dave didn't hook anything in that first 15, 20 minutes or whatever, you only knew it was a matter of time. It wasn't, these fish were not spooked.
Yep.
Even though we just talked about me falling in the water, we gave them plenty of time to cool down. And even where we broke ice wasn't really where they were. We weren't even breaking ice on top of them, really. So you just knew these fish were going to hit at some point. Go ahead, Beeve, and then sure enough, you dip in there, buddy, and you get the whole run to yourself, I think.
Both you guys had to tie off. So I started at the head, and I don't think it took long. I honestly think it was probably like the third cast. I had it on for like, it wasn't very long, 15 or 20 seconds. And I was like, I'm not even upset about losing that fish, you know? Because I got some action. It didn't blow up the hole or anything. And I was like, I'm not even upset. So.
And they're eating.
Yeah. And since I had action with that, by that time you guys were, I think, ready to go. Since I hooked into something, I stepped out and let you guys step back in.
Yeah, we were kind of rotating based off of if you hooked into a fish or if you were just getting cold and kind of shuffling in. So good sign, got into a fish. Honestly, I don't know if me and Dave jump in there or if we do, we don't last long, but I think you might have jumped back in there, Beeve.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't long after I hooked into number 2, same fly.
You remember what you were using?
That was a Frenchie.
That's right, you were using the Frenchie. What color egg on top? Just curious. Do you remember that?
It was pink and cream, or pink and white. I love pink and white.
Me too.
Again, I think it was just a couple casts, and I hooked into what I figured was a solid fish. It had some head shakes, and that thing took me for a nice ride.
That was a long battle. That fish gave you a battle.
It sure did. I like those short battles. I just work them good. I think maybe I was like really cautious with it. Just because, like, that was...
There was a lot riding on that fish.
There was a lot. I was like, oh, my God. All I want is just this one fish. Just please, like, at this point, because I've been fighting it for a while, I had my hookup and I lost one. Just let me please bring it to net.
Yeah.
And, it was a good battle, and it was a lot of fun. And I forget, did you net it for me, Dave? Or was that you, Ale?
That was me. Yep, Dave was on the camera.
Yeah, so once we got it to the net, I was just stoked.
We were all stoked.
Yeah.
Right. It was one of those feelings where the team, the crew, we've been working for a full day and a half at this point, to land one fish between the group. I remember I was super pumped for you, Beeve. I know Dave was. It's part of the reward is the team succeeding. And it felt like, all right, we all kind of can take a breath now and realign and get back to it. And dude, that was a big fish.
It was nice. Yeah, it was a really nice fish. We didn't end up measuring it, but it was a good 28.
I was going to say at least 28. Beautiful fish.
Nice
big fish. Yep. So the action picks up. There's still time that goes in between. But after you release your fish, then I jump back in there, Beeve, and I am able to sniff some action, and I get into my first fish. I think a purple bead ninja on the bottom. It could have been a black stonefly. I went between those two. And then I think I had a lighter colored egg on top as well, but I'm pretty sure I hooked into on the bottom fly. And I had it on for a good 30 seconds to a minute, and it got off. I don't really know what happened. He just kind of spit me, just one of those things. But I was like you with your first lost fish. I was extremely pumped. Just the taste to get that ride is awesome. So feeling good. And now we start going on a run. Dave jumps in there, and I went up on the side, and then Beeve went up, and we were trying to spot fish. And we were able to see that a group of like 4 had actually pushed way down to the tail where we were not fishing them. And you were able to run that, and it was cool, man. Me and Beaver having a good time on that perspective, because we could see this group of fish. We could see if your drift was like right in the zone, and there was a couple where you're like, oh my God, how did they not eat that? And you fished that from our vantage point for a little while, and then we came back down, because I know I then got back in with you at some point.
Yeah.
But that tail's where you hooked into your first fish, right?
Yeah. On the chartreuse bead.
Good memory. Chartreuse. I love it. And that fish was ripping, dude. That fish was jumping and putting on a show.
Yeah, that did a couple of aerobatic moves there.
That was more Dave's fish was more chrome, if I remember.
Yes,
right.
It was. That was a fresher fish. That was nice.
Fish.
She was ripping.
Yeah.
How'd it feel, Dave?
That for the first one, that was great. I loved it. Yeah, it was a whole show in the one.
And now we're 2 for 3, right? We got 2 off the board.
Yeah. I feel like you caught yours like real quick after we landed mine.
You're right, Dave. So I get into another one.
You definitely were into another one like quickly after me.
Okay. So then that must have been, because Beaver, you get number 3. I wonder if I must have caught the, do you remember if I landed it, Dave? I think I did, right?
Yeah, you did land it.
Okay, so that must have been my first one, and that was a good fish. So I was able to jump into my first fish. I think that was at the head of the run, land that, because I caught a big one in that run too, and I think that was that one. Slightly colored up, probably pushing 27, 28 in that zone. Another really good fish, kind of like yours. That fish was like deep diving on me, Beeve, nosing it, not really jumping. And then it was not that long after that you got into your third fish, and that was with the with your boy on the net.
Man, I'll tell you what, it was ready, and I was getting the head up, and you scooped it, but you just launched that thing like 6 feet in the air. God, I can't wait to see the video on that.
I watched it before we jumped on, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's honestly funny as hell. And at that point too, I landed the one, so if it gets off, it gets off. It was just fun. It was a nice smaller chromer, and it was just running and jumping, and yeah, we ended up landing it. It stayed on.
I was gonna say it's all good because I got it in the net. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't think it was a matter of me not scooping deep enough. It just was one of those weird timing things, and I banged it off the rail of the net, and as I'm lifting up, it launches, dude.
And it's just one of those things where sometimes
those fish are crazy.
They get wacky, you know. It gets crazy.
Yep, unpredictable.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that was fun. And here's the cool thing about that. We were all riding high. The group, all the skunk is off as a group. We've all hooked into a couple fish or close to it at this point, or Dave, you're about to hook into another one. And so we're like laughing our asses off about this net job. It was so funny. And it's a testament to how much fun we were having in general. We were just cracking up. And then I get into another one that breaks me off. I had it on for a while, and I don't know what happened. Something just long battle, and he eventually broke me. And then Dave, you're fishing the run, and me and Beaver talking out of the water while you're fishing, and sure enough, behind us, like 15 plus turkeys are just coming out of nowhere. They're just hovering the trees. And then what they do is they scoop down and they shoot up these gorge walls and land like halfway, 3/4 up, and then they start climbing up these walls. It's one of the coolest things you ever see. I've only seen it on this creek. I know, Beeve, same thing. You said that as well. So then I'm running over with the camera trying to get that on film. It was awesome. It is a very surreal moment to see nature the way they're doing their thing.
It was so many turkeys too. It was crazy.
They just kept coming. It was crazy. It got to a point where you're like, how many other possibly on this cliff over here?
Yeah, they just kept flying off the canyon cliff, and they were flying down, but then flying over the other side. Like you said, they land halfway up the slate walls and start climbing up.
So that was another cool moment out there, something special and unique. We were all pretty pumped about that. And then it kind of cools off. Like we've been fishing this run for a good, what, 3 hours or so?
At least, yeah. Because by then it was like almost 4 o'clock.
Was it that late already?
Yeah, because we remember we ate lunch for a half hour, and then we decided to start heading back before it got too dark.
Yeah, I think it was 3:30 because it was getting dark when we got back to the truck around 5. So I think it was 3:30 that we're like, okay, we got to start making our way back, fish those other spots.
We could have kept fishing that for another half hour, and done the headlamps, but we knew we had fish at those couple holes that we broke ice when we got in there, and we really wanted to go see if we could grab a couple on that last light bite. So we beelined it back pretty much.
I think we all threw a couple in that little mini waterfall.
Yeah, for the big dog. I got snagged in there, that's right.
I fell in there, or I fell backwards.
You were at the head of it, weren't you?
Yeah, trying to get my snag out again, and I fell in.
Man, Dave's good for one fall in a trip.
Yes, he is. That's the tribute.
Yep.
I sacrificed it for you guys.
Thanks, Dave.
No problem.
I appreciate that, man. So we were hitting a couple little spots quickly on our way back, but mostly kind of beelining it to where we knew fish were. And we go to that run that we broke out all that ice on both sides, where half a dozen or so steelhead were sitting. And then, Beeve, do you fish that at all, or do you go right down?
No, I had to go to the bathroom bad.
That's right.
I do not like doing that. I was like, I think I can hold it till we get to civilization, and I was like, nope, not happening. So
That's right.
and at this point too, I'm like, well, I'm missing out on this spot, you know. But hey, when nature calls. So then I come back out of the woods, and I think you landed the one right before I got back out.
Forgot. I was thinking you went downstream and came up when I landed that, but no, you were just
I
in
was
the
coming
woods,
out of the woods.
just connecting with nature on a deeper level. And you're right. I went to the other side and sniped one. Dave, did we cross lines before that?
No, I came over and netted it for you.
That's right. I went and you could still kind of see some bodies, at least from that other side, and I got a couple good drifts in there. And
It was literally like your second cast. You did 1 drift, 2 drift. I was like, are you kidding me? That was insane.
Yeah.
I didn't even untie my rig yet to cast it yet, and you already hooked into one.
Yep.
I think it might have been like 5 casts. Nice male. Really cool way to finish it for me. And I think I was able to scoop 4 that day. I think I lost 2, and then that was my 4th one. That last light bite, boys. You know I love it. Beeve missed it.
Yeah, I did.
And then we fished a little bit more, went down to our first run. Beeve, you were already down there, and me and Dave then went and caught up with you. Yeah. What'd you guys finish with for the day?
I was
Do you
1
remember?
for 2.
1 for 2?
Yeah, and I think I was 2 for 3 or 2 for 4.
It was not a ton of fish, but I had a blast up there.
It was fun. I think you have to just temper your expectations for your
Yeah, you do.
your day or your trip, you know.
Especially based off of conditions. Adjust it based off of that. It was a really fun day.
Double-digit days, you know. They're not all going to be like that.
They're not.
The walk out though, calf burner. Getting out of that canyon stream, it's just a heck of a hike.
Well, we did say we did a mile in.
Yeah.
Now we got to do a mile out after we already hiked a couple miles. At least it's a little bit easier when you caught some steelhead and you know you're going to get some food and some beers.
Yep.
That hike out is bad, though.
That's a burner.
It is a burner, dude. But yes, what'd you guys think overall of day 2?
I think it was the combo of the scenery, the animals, the stream itself. We caught fish. It was like what we needed that day.
Well said.
That was like, yes, I like being out here again.
Yeah. I do like this.
Yeah, some days you're like, why do I do this to myself? Like Friday, it was like, why did we do this? And then Saturday, you're like, yeah, this is why we do this.
This
you know?
is why.
Yeah.
I agree, Dave. It was what we needed. So then We do pizza and beers. So Beeve, this was his last day. He knew that kind of going into it. But it was a good ender, right, Beeve?
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, Sundays are always good. Got to do the Sundays. They're productive.
Yeah. So you're heading out in the morning. Me and Dave are gonna go do that Sunday, try to get like 3-4 hours in before we make the trek back. And it was one of those things where I was kind of going back and forth on where I wanted to go. Obviously, we know fish were in the private water, but me and Dave, based off of time, how long it takes to get in there, we didn't really want to do all that work for a few hours of fish on Sunday. And then we were talking about going back to the stream we were on day one because the conditions were warmer. So we thought that would be, an option. But I just did not really want to do that. So that evening, I said something to you, Dave. Let's try this instead. And it paid off, right, Dave?
That was a huge payoff. Yeah, that was great. Great decision. Just to change it up again. We knew fish were on that stream, but we were just gambling on where to go, and that just paid off big time, picking the right spot.
I had a feeling that there was probably fish there. We knew the conditions were good. So let's do it. Beelined it in there and walking in and getting to the water, it looked good.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing I remember is our walk in the snow, because it hadn't snowed for like 2 or 3 days. No one was there before us. You remember that? I was like, this isn't crazy that we're walking in here and there's absolutely no footprints in the snow before us.
You're right, man. So there was no one there all weekend.
Yeah, we had the whole place to ourselves.
Right away, we think we see a couple of bodies, so we're already amped up.
Breaking ice again.
Break ice again, theme of the trip. We break ice on the other side, so most of the hole is open, Beeves, and we're like, well, let's break the other side in case we want to fish it.
Yeah, it was pretty much the edges, but we wanted to clear it out in case they go under it, or we hook one and it goes under it. Just get it out of the way.
Yeah, just peace of mind.
Yeah.
So we pushed it out. We're like, should we wait? And I think we chatted for a little bit, 5 minutes or so, but fish are staring us in the face, and where we broke the ice didn't seem to really bother the fish, at least the ones that we could see.
Yeah.
So you know how it is, Beef. We got in there.
Just go in. We're going.
We've waited enough.
Yeah. Dave went to the middle tail. I went to the head. And do you remember this, Dave? We were getting snagged on stuff was not a huge issue.
Yeah. There was something in the middle that we constantly got caught up on.
Yes. And at the head, too.
Yeah.
They got some flies from us.
Dude, I remember I fished that hole with Nate like 3 weeks prior. I lost a couple flies in there in the one middle section.
Yep. You know exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Like it's one of those drifts you get going through there and you're like, oh, that's a fish. And you're like, nope, that's a lost fly or 2 flies. Yeah.
And honestly, it was within 5 minutes and Dave hooks into fish number 1. So it was that first light bite slightly after we broke ice and stuff. And it was a nice colored up male, right, Dave? It wasn't like super dark, but it had nice color to it.
Yeah, it was like that in between. Yeah, but it was nice just to hook into one. You've been on the water for minutes and you're already into one. You're like, oh, thank you. And that was the first time I caught one on a clear orange bead.
Clear orange. That's awesome.
Trying something different, and just threw that on because how clear the water was. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try that out. So it worked out really well.
But you just try something different, and a lot of times it works with steelhead.
Yeah. I think they just need something different thrown at them once in a while, and you just try something crazy, and it works.
I think it's just fun to try different nymphs because you're always looking for a new hot pattern. Yeah.
And it keeps your mind busy. Switching up and trying different things keeps you interested in it as well. Dave's off the skunk. We see fish right away. We're feeling good, but it does not keep going immediately. We're both working water, Dave. You step out of the water and go to the other side.
Yes.
And this was a huge deal.
This was the best part and the funniest part of Sunday. I go across to the other bank, and I'm up, I don't know, 5 or 6 feet up on the cliff side there. And I'm just look down in the water, and all of a sudden I just see this pod go like, and it just like 12, 13 fish come out of this hole. And they all go right back into a pocket again. And I was like, holy smokes, we found them. And then I'm looking in front of Kyle, and all of a sudden I see something come out and go back in. And I was like, Kyle, there's one 15 feet right in front of you. Like right in front of you, maybe 11 o'clock. He casts, and then he hooks it. I was like, yes, that's the one. Yep, you were the one I was looking at. You caught it. Yep, good job.
Yep, that's the one I'm talking about. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Dave comes around, good battle, scoop that fish, and yeah, it was cool. And then it's on and kind of gets hot. So we were looking at like 4 to 6 fish on our side, and then we realized there was another large pod of probably at least 20 fish. We're rolling sky high, and it's a frenzy from there. I released that fish, and not long after, Dave, you were into another one.
Yeah, I got one. Then basically went back and forth.
Yeah, I think I landed 5. I think I lost 2. Dave, you were close to that as well.
It was a great day.
Dude, weather was perfect. Every now and then it would snow a little bit. Water was running right. No one on the stream.
Those cold temps, man.
It was awesome. It was an incredible culmination to the weekend. We finally had that easy morning. We finally found those fish and just got to get into them quick and ride it for a while. I was able to scoop one there at the end, that last 20 minutes or so. Big, fresh chrome female. Dude, we got into some big fish in there too, Dave. There were some big fish.
There were a lot of big fish.
Fresh chromers too, beef. There was some dime bright chrome, some colored up ones, a mixture of everything. I think we both landed a couple, 28 plus. It was awesome. Well earned too. Well deserved. It paid off and we killed it. But it was a good one, guys. Sucks that we cut down from 5 guys to 3, but I thought the 3 of us, we made it count, right?
Yep.
And there it was, guys. Trip number 2. What do you guys think? Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
It's just another typical Steelhead trip where they just make you work for it. It was just another good trip.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I missed out on Sunday, but Saturday with Friday, it just makes Saturday and Sunday for you guys just that much better. You know how much work you put into them.
I always say that's honestly why I love it so much. I love how hard they make you work because it just takes one fish of that power, of that magnitude. It's all worth it and beyond.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
All right, boys, that's going to wrap us up. Dave, we hopefully another one here in the winter coming up. We'll get into that. Beeve, you got another kid coming up, so you'll get into that.
It's a little different.
Yeah, a little different, but pretty cool.
Yeah, it's still cool.
All right, guys, episode 10, part 2 of our second trip with the boys, Beaver and Dave, Steelhead Alley podcast. Thanks for checking in, everyone. Guys, thanks for doing this. Hopefully get you on more here and keep this thing rolling. Thanks for tuning in. If you're on the water, good luck out there. We'll talk to you later. Take it easy.